Are you one of the millions of Americans that does shift work? On today's episode, we'll look at a recent article that details some interesting findings about what that shift can be doing to your body. I'm Jay, and this is Somnilopod. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me. I want to talk a little bit today about shift work. Now, I am no stranger to shift work myself. I worked nights, worked a 7P to 7A shift for many years until I moved to days. And I am not the only one in that boat. According to statistics from the Department of Labor, there are millions of Americans that are in the same boat, working a shift. Now, when I mention shift work, I don't necessarily mean working overnight shift work. Shift work can include any shift that is not or that does not follow a regular 9 to 5 pattern. Now, research has been done extensively on the effects of shift work on our bodies. It is well documented that there can be an effect on our cardiovascular health, our gastric health, stomach problems, heartburn, ulcers, digestive issues, even metabolic issues, things that are contributing to diabetes. All sorts of research has been done in this area. And it's not necessarily the amount of time spent working that shift, although much of the research does support that the longer you work an odd shift, the more of an impact it will have on your overall health. And I read a recent article from the Journal of Sleep that looked at a group of newly trained bus drivers, and they were going to be working an early morning shift, and they compared those to some newly trained people working a regular day shift. Interestingly, the Center for Disease Control has a lot of statistics about cardiovascular disease. It's the number one killer of people in America. One person every 36 seconds in the United States dies of cardiovascular disease. So it's an important thing to be looking at. And one of the contributing factors to this is high blood pressure. So in the study that we're going to be talking about today, they looked at the blood pressure of each of these groups of new bus drivers, those working the morning shift and those working a regular day shift. Now, you may not know, our blood pressure, just like many of our other systems in our body, follows a circadian cycle. So when we are sleeping, our blood pressure normally drops a little bit during the night, generally 10% or more of a decrease in our blood pressure. It's called dipping at night, and those people that do not experience that are called non-dippers. Now, the participants of this study monitored their blood pressure and their sleep schedule for 90 days. 93% of the early shift drivers experienced non-dipping, in which their nighttime blood pressure did not have the opportunity to drop below 10% of their normal waking ranges. Now, in contrast, the non-early morning shift drivers, 0% of those new workers on the regular day shift experienced non-dipping. So what does this tell us? This confirms that not only does shift work disrupt our cardiovascular health by affecting our circadian cycle, but it also can take a very short amount of time working that shift for those effects to become apparent or for them to develop. So what can be done about this? Now, ideally, staying or adjusting your schedule to the new work schedule is what's going to be working the best, but most of us have a life. And, well, most of you have a life. Some of us don't. Some of us tend to work and then come home and work on a podcast. So, but for the most part, having a regular schedule is going to be the best thing to be able to combat some of the shift work issues. Unfortunately, sometimes that's just not going to be able to be done. So maintaining that regular schedule, as I say, would be best, but life gets in the way. So what you need to do is to try to ensure that the sleep that you are getting is as restorative as possible. So we have talked extensively in the past about some things that you can do to help yourself sleep a lot more consistently. Check out some of our earlier episodes for some of those tips and tricks, and that should get you on the road to sleeping a little bit better and to combat some of the ill effects of your shift work. Again, I cannot stress enough the importance of regular exercise. And not only does the regular exercise benefit your ability to sleep and affect your ability to get a good night's sleep, but it's also going to be good for your heart. And I speak from experience. I recently had developed some cardiac issues, and I feel that some of my sleep issues, my sleep apnea in particular, contributed to some of that. So it is fortunately being treated, and I am on the mend with the help of my sleep doctor and my cardiologist. So it's always going to be important, if you do work an odd shift, if you find yourself having any ill effects, talk to your doctor. It's a really good opportunity to open up a conversation and just to say, hey, here's what's going on. So rather than possibly starting on blood pressure medication to help your blood pressure stay normal, maybe it's in a situation where you want to talk to a sleep physician and get some advice and go that route rather than starting a medication. It can make a big difference in a lot of areas in your life. Well, I hope this has been interesting for you. As always, please remember to try to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, if you have any blood pressure issues, or if you work an odd shift and you're having any trouble with that, send me a note. You can reach me at j@somnilopod.com. Love to hear from you. As always, please like and subscribe on your favorite podcast service. And until next time, please remember to make sleep a priority. Thanks so much.